Check, check. Hey everyone, Jason Shappert here. Welcome into the Productivity Summit where we're taking some time on a Saturday when I know so many of you are so busy. Sometimes we need more work days in the work week, don't we? I just want to applaud you all and thank you all so much for taking time out of your Saturday to sit here and just find new ways to not only level up our leadership, but really expand our sphere of influence as well. And what do I mean when I say to level up our leadership? You know, leveling up your leadership doesn't just mean in the business world where you think, wow, you know, you're a CEO, you're somewhere in the C-suite, you're a manager. Leveling up your leadership can be in your own home as a mother. Happy Mother's Day to all our mothers, by the way, or as a father, perhaps as well. And tell that I'm getting some feedback. Thanks. On top of all of that and leveling up our leadership, we also need to work to level up our family life, level us up at the baseball field, level us up, whatever that may be. That's what we're really focusing on here today, and I'll kind of bring it all full circle for you all. Myself and my lovely lady Magda, who I was just speaking to over there for a second, we're here in the studio in Florida where we live. And we run several different businesses, and we needed a simple way to not only consolidate all that, but as Magda will tell you, it's meeting after meeting. In fact, when we get done with you all here today, we're doing another live stream for one of our other businesses as well. There's always something happening, and these sort of things need to be structured and aligned. And that's how we set out and actually, again, the serial entrepreneur in me created AgendaApp to really work through and build all this. So I want to honor your time here today, and I want to talk a little bit about how we can leverage our leadership, how we can maximize our productivity. We'll share some best practices we're using. We'll go back to some of the business greats like Stephen Covey, and we'll just share some great insights so we can work to make ourselves just that much more effective in everything that we do. And the first thing I want to focus on here today, let's talk, because everyone's doing remote work now. No matter what you do, just about everyone is faced with some capacity of doing remote work, remote meetings, and everything else. And I know, especially in the world that we're in, and you know, I believe remote work is going to be here to stay, and we're going to continue to, companies are finding themselves more productive, more profitable. Employees are seeing themselves having greater freedom. You see the real estate market is blowing up. Why is the real estate market excelling at such a rapid rate? People are realizing this newfound freedom to live where they want. People are realizing if I'm going to be stuck at home, I want to have that pool I always wanted. I want that, you know, fourth bedroom I always wanted. They're expanding everything else. All this is happening here. I think that's going to be here to stay, this work from home type atmosphere as well, where we're used to walking into a conference hall or walking into a conference room, let's say, for a meeting. I think we're going to always have some hybrid component even to that as well, some virtual, some in person as well. And that's why I want you, when we're thinking about this and you are finding new ways to leverage your leadership, your influence, no matter how small you think that may be or how large that may be, it's so important that you learn to change your perception around meetings. You see, the often commonality that people have is this idea of, oh my goodness, please not another meeting, right? You get the calendar invite and everything else, and you get all these notifications. Just the other day, my wife Magda and I were working on some summer scheduling with trying to coordinate with my parents, and we were sending, being younger, we'll say, we were sending my mother calendar invites of all the things we're going to do with the kids, and my mother didn't understand it, and she was declining. We're getting all these things. Renee declined your meeting. Like, why did you decline hanging out with us, right? Some people know that was just, my mom. Moms can be moms sometimes, right? But sometimes we get that feeling. You see Jason invited you to another meeting. Magda invited you to another meeting. Think, not another meeting. But you have to look at this, and you need to understand that if somebody invites you to a meeting, and when I say a meeting, I don't just mean in the work environment. It could be someone inviting you to a small group for the church or for a fundraiser, something, anything along these lines, meetings in our personal life, in our professional life. If someone's inviting you to a meeting and you as the leader need to express to those you're inviting to this meeting, I'm inviting you for one reason. It's because I believe you can add value. Value is the key word through all of this. I invited you to our small group because I think you can deliver a lot of value. I invited you to this marketing meeting, even though you may not be in the marketing department, because I believe you add value to this. And I believe you can take away value. Not that you can only contribute, but I believe you can take away some value as well, because in this remote work environment, it's so important that we continue to over-communicate. That's one thing and Magda will tell you, one thing we really, really struggle. When I look this way, I'm looking at her, by the way, if you wonder where I'm looking. We really struggled early on going remote with a lack of communication in a way. We kind of just assumed, and I have this sneaky personality that says, well, I just assume everybody knows what I'm thinking about. Everyone knows Jason's crazy idea, whatever that may be, and maybe you have a personality like that as well. It's so important that we are over-communicating. In fact, it's even come to the point with some of my key team members, I will literally chat with them every single day. It's a 10-minute check-in most days. I'm surprised if it ever goes over 10 minutes. It's a quick daily check-in. Some of you have these daily huddles. With our children, we do a daily family meeting that sets the tone for the entire day. How school is going to go, who's doing what, who's dropping off whom there, who's picking them up. We have all of this through a daily family meeting, a daily huddle in your business. It is all the same. And the reason I invite those there, not just because in the family one there are children, it's because they can receive value from it, and we can give value, and they can give value to this as well. So I want to dive into here, and again, my whole goal is to honor your time with this as well. My goal would be to have you out of here by 11:30, taking questions if you have any, to honor your Saturday with your family, with that extra little bit of work you have to do, whatever it may be, because you came to a productivity summit, or you're watching this as a recording because you want to maximize your time. So let me honor that time and really share with you 3 key points, not in order of importance, just in order of the structure, the syntax that we're going to follow with all of this. Great meetings, number 1. Great meetings, I put in parentheses there, days. Let's leave that slide up for just a second to chew on that here for a bit. Great meetings, or in your personal life, great days, or you know what, I've been using AgendaApp. I didn't even tell you this yet, Magda. I've been using AgendaApp for our podcasts as well. Actually, where I'm sitting right now, you can't see it, but this is actually our podcast desk where I'm actually sitting. We do all our podcasts as well here. So fill in the blank. Great meetings, great days, great podcasts, great family time, great vacations, great whatever. Have structure is the end of that statement. They have structure. If you go about your day, your vacation, your Bible study, your whatever it is, if you go about it haphazardly, you're going to get a haphazard type outcome. These things must be planned and structured. And realistically, how do we, though, handle the daily fires? How do we handle when the school calls and says the kid's sick? How do we handle when the website goes down? You may have, I was just sharing with, the story was shared with me, Matt, who serves as our COO through m0a.com, one of our aviation businesses. Matt was sharing with me, he had this really big project, a big data entry project that just really needed a ton of his focus. He was really the only one that knew it and understood it inside and out. And he's sharing, he said, Jason, I woke up early, I went for a walk, I went and got a cup of coffee, I got everything ready, I was so excited, I sat down, I was all ready to have all this set up. And then he went into the learning management system, and we were missing just a few little key pieces. Nothing of Matt's fault, by the way, right? But we have to make sure we have that right syntax, the right things in the right order. if you're in IT, you know what I mean when I say the word syntax. To give you another example, syntax is, I could give you the best recipe for making the most amazing chocolate cake. I could give you all the ingredients to make it. But if you choose to not follow the step-by-step recipe, you may have the most exquisite ingredients ever, but you're not going to end up with the same chocolate cake. You know, if step number 1 is turn the oven on and you think, no, I know this, I'll just jump to step 3, and you skip turn on the oven, you're going to end up with a mess is all you're going to end up with. You have to do the right things in the right order and follow that syntax. So Stephen Covey, Dr. Stephen Covey that is, in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, shares what he calls the 4 quadrants. And this is something I've been living by. This is something I know my lovely lady Magda does. This is something we work through when we map out our entire to-do list, when we map out our list of things that we perceive need to be done. Perceive is the key word there. Perceive that they need to be done. And then we break them down into the following 4 quadrants. Let's spend some time here together. Let me get my cursor over on your screen so we can work through this here together. So what I do typically is I just draw these quadrants on out. And I make these 4 quadrants. And at the top, I write urgent. Over this box, you have not urgent. However, here I have important and I have not important. The goal, as my business coach, as Stephen Covey, as anyone will tell you, you want to stay above the line, above this line here in everything that you do. In fact, you want to spend the majority of my time in this not urgent but important. I love this space. My wife Magda will tell you, I love the space of not urgent but important. Now, and I don't have my notebook here with me. If I showed it to you, a lot of things fall into this urgent and important category. And these are things that have a logical deadline. You got that trade show coming up. You've got to finalize these graphics to keep the graphics team moving forward, whatever it is. These are urgent and important things. Do those things, right? But this category of not urgent but important, this is where I like to spend time. This is where you make the cup of coffee and you get into that creative flow state. This is the planning phase. This is that, it's December 20th, and if you wait till December 20th to plan your next year, you waited way too long. You should be planning your next year now. This is when you and your spouse go and rent the cabin in the woods to plan out what does the next 3 years of your relationship look like? What does the next 3 years of your business look like? This is what happens in this category. That's really big picture, but even taking it more in a linear fashion, this is, hey, the new website's posting soon and I got to finish the sales copy, or I need to read that sales copy, and I want to put my focus in there. It's not urgent, it's very important though. This is that planning phase of things with all of this here. Then we come on down to quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. This not important, but it is urgent. Wow, what would fit in not important but urgent? Well, this could be the friend that calls you because your phone is always on and always active and always willing to accept the distraction. This is the notification that pops up on your phone that says you just got this email. That whatever that may be, it's urgent in the sense that it just popped up, so it interrupted your time. It's in your face, but it's truly not important. Urgent, but not important. And then you have the quadrant where you really don't want to spend any time in. This is that mindless scrolling on Facebook, that mindless scrolling on TikTok or whatever your app of choice is nowadays. Not urgent, not important. Eliminate it. Now, I understand you might just enjoy going through Facebook to stay in touch with your family. That is A-okay. If you want to devote a half an hour to that somewhere after dinner, but before bedtime, whatever that is, that's fine. We all need that time as well. But Below the line is where the time sucks happen. This is where you find the day sneaks away from you. Quadrant 3 is where those fires live, of what you believe is fires. But let me share something with you. Others' lack of planning doesn't need to become your emergency. Let me say it one more time. Just because others failed to plan, others failed to create the structure that you're creating, it doesn't need to become your emergency. Stop living your life in quadrant 3 things. You are not a quadrant 3 person. Say it with me. I am not a quadrant 3, and for that matter, a quadrant 4 person. I'm a quadrant 1, a quadrant 2 person. Preferably, in a perfect world, I'd spend all my time in quadrant 2. But if I spend all my time in quadrant 2, my wife will tell you, nothing gets done in quadrant 1. The things I come up with in quadrant 2 become my to-do items in quadrant 1. My big picture 3-year planning happens in quadrant 2. However, I've got to get through Q2 right now, quarter 2, to get to that 3-year goal. That happens over here. I break it down by day, by week, by quarter in quadrant 1. I plan it in quadrant 2, is how all of that is really focused. So with all of that, now when you structure this, and I'll take my cursor off your screen here for a second. As you structure this, how do you detail and make your meetings quadrant 1 and quadrant 2 meetings? Now you got to be careful with quadrant 2 meetings as well, because as much as I love quadrant 2 meetings, some meetings are quadrant 2 meetings and just stay in quadrant 2 forever. This plan, because it's fun to plan. It's fun to dream. It's hard to do and create those actionable steps and everything. We should do this, or we could do this, or what if, did you see what our competitor over here is doing? And what really happens is nothing ever gets done. So that leads me to step number 2 in all of this is great meetings have buy-in. Great meetings have buy-in from the team. They know they're there because they're adding value to the equation. However, they have buy-in on the plan. They have buy-in on the ideas. However, as you lead your team, as you lead your children, as you run your podcast, right? Because you have to have buy-in from your listenership as well. This transcends what you're actually out there doing. Great meetings or great structure, we can replace that word with, has buy-in. It has buy-in. Yes, I believe in this vision. We planned it in quadrant 2. However, it's time to be in quadrant 1 a little bit here. We go to quadrant 2 to refine our plan. We go to quadrant 1 to create those actionable items. Great meetings have buy-in in everything that we do. And what I love to see, and actually I'll share it with you, in AgendaApp, one thing we'll do is when we're creating an agenda, we'll have the team go in there and add everything. For this example, review the production budget for Q4, but we can always add, hey, could we still go back and compare this to Q3 as well to see how we're really doing as we work through that? You see, when you have buy-in of the task, team members contribute to the agenda. I didn't invite someone to this meeting to sit there passively. Even with the morning daily huddle we do with our children in the mornings, the kids participate. There is buy-in in this. You may be using AgendaApp to script out and outline your podcasts, but you still need buy-in from your listenership. And your listenership helps create that script and helps work through and fine-tune through their comments, through their feedback. We are always, as iron sharpens iron, we're always getting better and better and stronger and stronger and smarter in everything that we do. But like I alluded to earlier, your meeting is only as good as the action items you create. So tip number 3 is great meetings produce action items. If you are walking away from a meeting, one of those rah-rah, kind of feel-good meetings that no one walks away with action steps as like, who is going to do what, you just wasted everybody's time, right? And even leaving this productivity summit, I'm gonna give you all some action items to level up your productivity. But one thing we did actually when we were building an AgendaApp, we purposely built it this way. I'll show you real quick here. On that same Q4 finance meeting, we can go through and let's assign these tasks out. So I'll go and I'll assign this to Stacy. I'll go and let's assign the next one down to Magda, my wife. And we can assign these things out. And now Magda or now Stacy can go and say, okay, where does this fit in my 4 quadrants? Right? Is this a fire? Is this a task? Is this, wow, that's from our quadrant 2, we'll call it planning meeting. We're assigning out who's responsible for what. We can go and map those things out. And that's what we can do. And that is how we level up our leadership in everything that we do through the power of delegating the right things to the right people, making sure, as Jim Collins says, we've got the right people. First off, the right people on the bus, right? Who's ever worked in a culture where you didn't have the right people on the bus? You liked the bus, but you didn't have the right people on the bus. And then once you get the right people on the bus, you have the right people in the right seats on the bus. And that means delegating, putting someone in the right seat is delegating them the appropriate task that they're best suited for, not asking someone to do something they're not best suited for, understanding who handles what which way. We are a symbiotic team. We all work together in everything that we do. And that's what it really comes down to. You see, you are a high-level executive whether you actually know it or not. You may be a super mom, a super dad, an up-and-coming podcaster, or an outstanding podcaster. You may be a manager, you may be in the C-suite, you may be an executive assistant. It doesn't matter what you call yourself. What matters is that you maximize every minute that you've been placed here on this beautiful planet, no matter where you are on this earth, right? You were put here to leave it better than you found it and to be a light to everyone you come in contact with. So, like I shared, all good meetings, all great things start and end with structure. Let me give you some to-do lists, so some delegation perhaps. We can practice a little bit. Let me give you some things to work on. What I want you to work on is your 4 quadrants. I want you to stay above the line. This is being recorded, by the way, so if you want to go back and see those quadrants again, if not, you can just search Stephen Covey's 4 quadrants. You can find it very, very easily with that. And I want to encourage you to stay above the line in quadrant 1 and quadrant 2. Focus on those areas. Delegate out the rest. You might be saying, Jason, I'm a mom. What do you mean I delegate out the rest? Can you delegate the dishes? Can you delegate the things that you normally do? Can you delegate out certain things? Absolutely. Can you delegate someone taking them to practice? Whatever that is. You may say, I'm an executive assistant. Things are delegated to me. That's not true either. What you perceive of that is maybe true. It's how you see it. But you have the opportunity to systematize and to delegate and to outsource certain things that you have the power to. You see, Tony Robbins says the quality of your life is the quality of your communications. And if you are trying to put the world on your shoulders, and I know you're watching this because you're a high-level individual, you have to learn to delegate. The quality of your life is the quality of your communications. You can't take the world on your shoulders. You can't wear the backpack and I used to say this, and I tell Magda to be mad at me every time I say it, I'll just carry them across the finish line, and that's not right. You don't need that kind of burden in your life either to carry or feel the need to carry everyone else across the finish line. You should all cross the finish line together. So your homework is to stay above the line. What can you be doing to stay above the line? Your other homework, I hope you'll check out all that AgendaApp has to offer as well. You can check it out at agenda.app. When you land there right on the home page as well, you'll see an opportunity to take a free trial as well. Hop in there, take a free trial of it. You get 10 free agendas a month, so you can hop in there and really start to take advantage of mapping this out, starting to delegate, starting to not just delegate, but collaborate on everything that you do. It's time we level up our leadership in everything, from the stay-at-home dad, the stay-at-home mom, all the way up to the C-suite executive. collaborate, delegate, and those are the steps to making 2022 your most productive year yet. Have just a blessed, abundant, outstanding day. Take your trial of AgendaApp, and I'm sure I'll see you all around later this month. I'll see y'all.